Let's watch some of the media clips on this shooting at the Georgia school.
This morning.
Yeah, Tom, so you've also been seeing buses like this. They've been going in and out. Hi there. You've been seeing Barrow County buses going in and out probably the last 30 minutes. I've seen them coming here to the high school, but there's really a big line up there. I believe that's at the middle school that is in the back part, and that line has grown since we've talked last. There were just maybe 3 buses at the last point, but now there are more buses who are impacted directly by not being able to see, and you guys will have a better perspective if there's still a large group on that football field, but it doesn't seem as many parents and family members are coming out as we once saw parents coming here from elementary to her classmate tried to get inside of that classroom, but they would not let him in. She heard about 4 shots outside of that. Then he said further down, she heard it maybe next door, maybe heard about the this was there, but they do train for certain things like that. But one person said they just never know. And this is an ambulance that is going there with its siren, Northeast Georgia Medical Center there. Not sure if there is anyone in the back. So you guys were out there for 4 hours?
Are we on the news?
We are on the news. This is live. How long have you guys been out there? I know you guys have had a long day.
I got out the school at like 11-ish because it happened during second period, so it was like 10:20-ish.
We've seen tents back there. What are the different, are there grief counselors?
Yes, there's grief counselors, and they're interrogating students that might have heard or seen something.
How are you processing all of this, family? This is a lot to go through. How are you processing this?
I'm trying to process it. It hasn't clicked yet, but I don't wish this on any parent in any country, anywhere. I felt my life flash before my eyes, literally.
Did you hear the gunshots at all?
Yeah, I was in the hallway, so you could hear them like bang on the lockers and stuff. And then my teacher, she like left the classroom but came back, but she had like fallen, something happened, and she screamed at us. And we were in a science classroom, so there's lab tables, so we all like book it for the lab tables. She closed the door, turns off the lights, and you could hear them rattle the door. And then
them as in the gunmen or police?
So, well, it had just police. I didn't hear police shouting until like 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, because we heard the sirens first, and then like a couple moments later, you heard like police, sheriff, and then you could hear like before the police arrived, it was like it didn't sound like a gun, but it sounded like I was saying like a metal trash can, like going, and you could hear the kids screaming down my hallway, and then you heard more like hitting the lockers and stuff, and then eventually the police came, and walking out you could see like what had happened, and then they took us onto a football field.
About those 4 people who didn't.
Kamala Harris spoke about this
at an event. We understand she's going to be addressing the situation. Let's take a listen.
The teachers and their families, of course. And we are grateful to the first responders and law enforcement that were on the scene. But this is just a senseless tragedy on top of so many senseless tragedies. And it's just outrageous that every day in our country, in the United States of America, that parents have to send their children to school worried about whether or not their child will come home alive. It's senseless. It is, we've got to stop it. And we have to end this epidemic of gun violence in our country once and for all. You know, it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. So we will continue, of course, to send our prayers and our thoughts to the families and all those who were affected, including, you know, I'm going off script right now, but listen, I mean, you know, at the last year, I started a college tour. And I traveled our country meeting with our young leaders, right? And so it was college-age young leaders. So I did trade schools, colleges, universities, community colleges. By the way, I love Gen Z. I just love Gen Z, right? But I'll tell you, one of the things that I asked every time I went to the auditorium, and it would be filled with these young leaders, students, and I'd ask them, raise your hand if at any point between kindergarten and 12th grade you had to endure an active shooter drill. And for the young leaders who are here who are raising their hand, I'm telling you, every time the auditorium was packed and almost every hand went up. You know, a lot of us, I'll speak about myself, you know, we had, I grew up in California, earthquake drills, we had fire drills, but our kids are sitting in a classroom where they should be fulfilling their God-given potential, and some part of their big, beautiful brain is concerned about a shooter busting through the door of the classroom. It does not have to be this way. It does not have to be this way. And, you know, this is one of the many issues that's at stake in this election. So New Hampshire, we have 62 days to go. 62 days to go.
Vice President Kamala Harris responding to what happened.
Oh, they're going to cut away from what she's saying. So I'm looking over here on the side, and you got CNN, 11 Live, you got KCTV5, you know, Georgia high school shooting, and then sentencing update in Trump's New York trial. So that's interesting. School shooting update live now from Fox, 11 Alive. Fox 4, Dallas, Fort Worth. I mean, my God, this is just so much food, so much fodder. What was it, 2 days ago? People were talking about Florence Henderson and John Ritter on Twitter, and then all of a sudden, now we're all focused on this Apalachee high school shooting. And since we're all focused on it, I mean, we're going to come up with solutions to these problems, and then they're going to get solved, right? Isn't that what we do? I mean, I just see video after video after video. So many videos. So if it bleeds, it leads. If it's gory, it's a story. So, you know, that's a problem too. Why do we glorify in this bloodshed? Why do we have an absolute media frenzy when it comes to, you know, tragedies? And look, we even got helicopters. We got helicopters they said it was a no-fly zone. Well, of course. You think they need all this crazy media attention like this? Now it's a no-fly zone. It's a no-fly zone like it's Iraq, Iran, and Saudi Arabia, like it's Yemen and Sudan and the Congo. We need a no-fly zone. But this is important for the media, right? This is what people are talking about. This is what people are focused on. And so it's a corporate media too, so they gotta be the one who breaks the story, and they got to be the one to get there first and get the images, get the pictures that nobody else is getting. The press secretary says something about it. Associated Press, this is the Associated Press.
Another horrific shooting. Now, as a parent myself,
I don't think I want to hear what the White House says. I would like to, did Donald weigh in? I mean, Donald has been giving a whole bunch of speeches, but I haven't been hearing from him. I'm just still looking. I'm just kind of a little mortified. Minneapolis, St. Paul, NBC LA, Austin, Island News, KTSM 9. I mean, let's pick up what St. Paul, KHOU. Who is that? OU, is that Ohio? WFAA, 9 News, WGN News. Dallas, Fort Worth. What would Dallas? This is Texas, so this is like 3-4 states over. Like Texas
I call
is.
this like my energy in a bottle. It's so good.
It's just what people are talking about, and it just becomes such a media frenzy.
A
Just such a.
14-year-old is in custody for today's deadly school shooting in Georgia. Hello, everybody. I'm Hannah Batab.
And I'm Steve Eager. It happened at Apalachee High School in Winder, Georgia. It's about 50 miles northeast of Atlanta. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation says at least 4 people are dead and as many as 9 are wounded. The school has almost 2,000 students. They were spilling out of the building as law enforcement and emergency vehicles surrounded the school. Sean Rabb in our newsroom with the latest. Sean.
That shooter identified by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation director as Colt Gray, the 14-year-old boy surrendering when confronted by 2 school resource officers and arriving law enforcement. As you said, 4 people dead, 2 students and 2 teachers lost their lives. One of the wounded students on a stretcher being rushed through the crowd by paramedics to a waiting ambulance. 9 others, 9 total hurt. Another injured person treated on the ground in front of the school. Lines snaked through school grounds as anxious parents rushed to reunite with their children as SWAT teams continued responding to the campus. Students' spirits clearly broken today. Law enforcement in Georgia shaken and emotional by the tragedy that's taken lives and so much more.
This hits home for me. I was born and raised here. I went to school in this school system. My kids go to this school system. I'm proud of this school system. My heart hurts for these kids. My heart hurts for our community.
What about Palestine,
But I
asshole?
want to make it very clear that hate will not prevail in this county.
You don't give a damn about no Palestine. You don't care about the kids getting killed in Palestine. You don't care about no Hind Rajab. He's talking about love and he's spitting out hatred. What was loving about what he just said?
4 counts of murder and other charges. Lots of questions to be answered in the days and weeks to come.
All right. So Apalachee is an indigenous. Just to lighten this up a little bit, the Apalachee is the indigenous people of the southeastern woodlands. The indigenous people of Florida lived in the Panhandle until the early 18th century, so until the 1700s. What happened to them? What happened to the Apalachee? What happened to the Apalachee? So, and then Georgia, well, here's, let's see, you got Velma Mound, the Narvez expedition, Carolinas, Georgia, Alabama, Muskegon language, the Hitchiti. What else you got here? Fort Walton culture, Mississippian, Hernando de Soto. Whole bunch of things that could be talked about when it comes to what does the name of your school mean? Hernando de Soto seized the Apalachee town of Onhiko in 1539. He found enough stored food to feed his 600 men and 220 horses. Well, hell, no wonder Palestine's getting killed. Look what the Spanish conquistadors were doing to the Native Americans. This is just a damn genocide. Apalachee wore deerskin loincloth. The women wore a skirt made of Spanish moss.